to become somebody else for the moment?
Well, it's definitely, it kind of just also depends on who you're playing. With BB, there is a lot of things that I find very relatable to her. Just because, like, I like some of this. I fairly like some of the same music that she likes, and I do like the way she dresses because it's how I like to incorporate in my own, personal style in my own life. I don't know. I think just getting in the character is just one, reading your lines, and I think also just following the directions of your both of your directors. Just listening to them honestly and saying, okay, well, why does your character feel this way? What I really loved with Adrienne and Jenny is they would ask us questions like, why do you think your character is making this choice? And I think that also helps. And I think as actors, when we ask ourselves these questions, like, why does our character make these choices? Why does our character do this certain thing? Why does our character walk a certain way? I think really just helps me as an actor get more into, BB. Like, would BB be into this? Would BB be into that? I think honestly that's what helps me get into her.
Kind of having to almost answer questions like you might have to do if someone asked you about yourself.
Yeah, basically.
All right, Jocelyn, we'll move to you. What's it like for you, that experience of kind of taking on another identity?
It's like the main reason why I decided to do acting as a career is because no matter how you feel in that moment, whenever you are a certain role and you're portraying a certain character, you're always that character in the moment, and people will believe you regardless if that's how you feel or not. I think Kelly can very much agree to that. But it's very interesting because you take on these characters who can be completely different than you and have a completely different moral sense than you and just different beliefs, opinions, all that kind of stuff. And it's really fun because when you do find the one character that you can relate to, it's almost odd in a way because you don't necessarily realize that it's possible to have someone as real as you in a show. And it's very bizarre in that moment. So it's very interesting and it's fun.
That sounds like a very interesting point that you bring up about suddenly finding out that there's someone like you who's a real person who's kind of out there. So,
yeah.
So, Kelly, I'll ask you that same question. What's that like to tell me a little bit about what that's like for you to take on a different identity?
I'm going to be honest. It wasn't just taking on a different identity. It was taking on what happened in the past for me. This particular show was done by a group called Samae Productions in 1997 when it came out. I was part of that group. I was a founder of this group. But I was not allowed to audition for the role because there were no roles for black people. And this is how it was in the 90s. If you didn't really have a place, you weren't going to even be tried. Hey, there's a Pakistani role. Maybe I could try out for that. I wasn't allowed to do that. And fast forward to last year, I was in a show called The Piano Lesson at CSN. I wasn't enrolled yet. But a week before The Piano Lesson opened, I was removed from the show because of differences with one of the directors. So that I had two holes two circles that were open that needed to be closed. So last year I enrolled for CSN and I just happened to go in the theater program. I had no idea that this particular show was going to be done in the next semester, and I tried out for it just for giggles because come on, there's no way I'm going to get this role. No.
It's a full circle moment at that point.
Exactly, and I try out for it, and the director said, you know what, let's give you a shot. And there was an actual 20-year-old Pakistani trying out for this role, too. So I'm like, wow, okay. So I had to literally bathe myself in the role of Norman. Not, when I go into it all the way. There can't be any type of, there's this grandpa playing a 24-year-old. Can't do it. So everything I put everything I had into it, and hopefully I pull it off.
That's perfect. I like what you said. It's a full circle moment. You had the involvement, and now you're really, truly involved in a way you probably would have never thought you might be.
Also, and I just wanted to let you know, every single one of you plays a character that I knew in the 90s. Every single one of you. And all of you are pretty much wonderful, and it's minus the racism. You're my theater group, minus the racism.
Minus
It's
that, yeah.
unbelievable. I thought I was making a mistake. I thought it was like, there's no way I should be in this part. But every single one of you have made me feel welcome, and we have the same musical taste. We have the same taste. I listen to every single one of the songs that they listen to. I'm like, we're 30 years apart. How is this possible? But then that's why I think there's a higher power, because I don't think this happens anywhere else in the world except this place, in this show, in this time.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really interesting point. And you said these are people that I knew, minus some of the other stuff. Now, this show, as it says right here, tackles some difficult, sensitive issues. Mm-hmm. But it also involves what seems like a very common theme that we see in fictional work. The successful former resident who returns home, and everybody's kind of still in the same place that they were. It's familiar. We see it a lot in a lot of different things. Why do you think this is such a popular theme? Jocelyn, we'll start with you.
Yes. So, sorry. In general, just for the setting of the time of the play, it's the 90s, specifically 1996, and it's just the 90s have a reoccurring popularity increase every few years, if not months, and the fashion sense never goes out of style, and there's plenty of new trends that are heavily inspired by certain groups in the 90s, and it's just, that is one of the reasons why. And another reason is the humor. I think I was very surprised when I realized, and I read through the script, that the humor was very similar to how it is in our time now, and it just shows that humans never really change. They just the times do, and so they're all usually the same, and they feel the same, they love the same, and unfortunately they hate the same, but we can't change that. But that's also a huge thing that I found really nice about that. So
yeah, we just kind of recycle the same thing,
exactly,
finding 90s jeans in the store, right? Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Lizzy, what are your thoughts? Why do you think this keeps coming up, this kind of theme, and why is it such an important theme for you, would you say?
Why is it such an important theme? I think it's something I learned in at CSN. So I had this teacher who was like my acting technique teacher, and we talked about stories and how since the beginning of time human beings have told stories, and the reason why we tell stories is because they have lessons and they teach us how to be better people. And this play covers so much deep topics about old friends coming back, and jealousy and bigotry, and this play is a reflection of us as people. I think the reason why we tell stories like this is, I think, one, a reminder, because with everything going on in the world right now, I think a lot of people need a lot of reminders to be better. And, like characters like Tim, where he is profusely and, just profusely racist. It's not about, this